Dr. Greeny. I'm the President and CEO of WorkCare. Beginning approximately 30 years ago, started a practice helping employers perform exams on their employees that came under certain regulatory requirements. Since that time, our practice has evolved to help those same employers deal with international expansion. Most of our clients believe that their future is no longer in the U.S. and that it's the third world, China, India, Brazil, Russia, where they're going to have greater growth potential. And with our military involvement in Afghanistan and Iraq and Djibouti and other areas, we have had many requests to provide assistance for them with their deployments overseas, with care and injury management services for employees once they are overseas, instead of repatriating them every year to have their annual examination and fitness verification, that these be performed outside the U.S. So instead of relocating back to the U.S. for an exam, that they could go to Dubai or Kuwait or somewhere else for that exam, and we would manage the process as if the exam was conducted in North America. Travel medicine is the assessment and preparation of individuals traveling to another location. There may be different disease entities that we have not been naturally prepared for, so you may have to immunize a person to go to Japan during certain seasons of the year where you have yellow fever or Japanese encephalitis. That is travel medicine. TravelCare is more the actual process of determining who is fit to work in some of these overseas locations. They're no longer just going for a brief visit. They're going to be there for at least a year or 18-month contract. They're bringing whatever health attributes they have to this other world. The availability of medical care in the location where they're going may not be as structured as it is currently in the United States. They may not be suitable for a long-term assignment. So it's occupational medicine services and determination of ability to do a job, along with assessment, can they be in this harsh environment for 18 months? Well, I think it's important that companies look at it. I don't think that people have necessarily prepared. They have a travel system that includes getting the person there, but they often forget about the health of the individual. Are they the most suitable? What are we going to do once they get there and they get ill? How are we going to repatriate them? How could we have prevented that in the first place? And does the person really have the mental ability to sustain themselves in this location? Have you done a psychological screening to make sure they can live in this harsh environment? And our company, the first time we got involved was when a customer said their most costly workers' comp case came from a deployment to Bolivia. And it cost them $250,000 because they didn't make the right decisions with the person, and they couldn't do the activities, and it ended up resulting in an accident. Other companies, to satisfy their contract, sent people. They didn't do the preparation, and it cost them $100,000 to repatriate them. Others ended up with costly hospital bills overseas for people, for disease entities that hadn't been fully investigated prior to departure. So lessons learned the hard way. Most of our customers have figured it out with our help that adequate planning and prevention needs to be considered before these deployments. There are still, however, a lot of new entries into the overseas support that aren't necessarily considered dangerous. I see a lot of technology companies sending people to Singapore and Japan, and we know from the recent tsunami and earthquake in Japan that the radiation spill that there are dangers lurking there, even in developed countries. Well, there is the risk of the job itself, there's the risk of the travel itself, and then there's the risk of the location that you're going to be in and the environment that you're going to be around. I believe our first deployment goes back to the mid-90s, and one of our clients got a Navy contract in support of the naval bases overseas. It was an environmental engineering contract. They had to assess the environmental handling practices of the military at the time. And that's still ongoing. So we had to prepare them to go to Japan, Korea, Germany. And then Desert Storm started, and the military no longer is a full service military. They do the fighting, but they don't do the maintenance of the base. They don't do the security around the base. They don't do the laundry or the food service or any of the other infrastructures stuff. That's what our clients do. And tank repair, Humvee repair, helicopter repair. So it's the job of doing the repair like they would at a U.S. military base, but in a harsher environment. And then they're away from support of friends and family, and they're also subject to disease entities that are, Iraq. I mean, temperatures in the 130s, heat stress, a big issue, sand ticks, different diseases, TB, and heat and dust. So we've seen a lot of different disease entities emerge that they were ill prepared for. Along with then the social isolation and the interpersonal issues that come, the stress of living and being constantly bombarded in the green zone, security issues, trust issues of who's the enemy. So we've seen that. We've seen combat fatigue and a lot of other issues. Well, our whole process for preparing people for travel starts with an encounter with a clinician to do a review of their health status and do a mini preparation. Do they have their eyeglasses? Do they have their dental checks? What immunizations have they had already? What are they going to need? Where are they going to be located? When do they deploy? Because that really sets the timetable in motion. And if they are candidates, in other words, they go through a screening. Have they diabetes? Are they on insulin? Are they obese? Do they have good mobility? Do they have heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease? Have they had cancer in the past? Do they need supervised follow-up? All of those would be candidates perhaps that are ill-suited for deployment. So assuming that they are suitable, or you think they're suitable, they pass the screening process, you then are in the preparation process. Okay, what vaccines are you going to need? Can you get your shot record? So we would arrange then for an evaluation of their health and confirmation that their health is adequate to have a 12 or 18-month deployment overseas. And then we would prepare the clinic to give them the immunizations that they are lacking and check their HIV status so they can get visas to go to some locations. And finally, we may give them travel kits with medications that they can use if they're in an isolated area that would sustain them for a brief period until they can get adequate supervised health care. Well, we have a whole system of preparation and care. We have the clinicians who do the screening. We have the immunizations that we can ship to a clinic network or their own physician to be administered. We have a provider network that can do an assessment, including stress testing. We have rapid deployment clinics if they need to go quickly, so that we can finalize any shot preparations at debarking centers such as Houston and Florida and Georgia. And we have a customer service people to help make this happen in a short period. A lot of our clients have a tiered structure. If you're going to a friendly country, you're going for a few weeks, you may just survive with a reassurance that they are in good health through a questionnaire and they have their immunizations. If they're then going to a third world country for a brief period, you have a different set of criteria. If they're going to be relocated with or without family to one of these countries, then you have a third process. So. I would say it's a more efficient process rather than and it may be less costly, but it's mainly done for efficiency. Often we only have 5 or 6 days to prepare this person. And some clients have already pre-prepared some of their workforce. Okay, these are the eligible people because they passed the screening and they are in currently good health. They don't know where they're going or where they're going to be deployed to. Once they get that notification, then we complete the process.